Good morning, good afternoon, guys, whichever class period you're in. Today we're going to start reading a new story, so I want you to click on week of October 5th, Friday. And the name of the story is called The Story of an Hour. The author is a woman named Kate Chopin. It was published in 1894, so just go ahead and click on that, open up your document. I'm going to walk you through the first part because you will have a quiz over the story. So today what I expect from you is to get the reading done and also this part that I'm walking through with you. So you see up at the top says we will read a short story inspired by 19th century women's literature in order to review the genre characteristics and expectations of short stories. So that is the right here. This picture is just what the book looked like, or her short story looked like. It was published actually in a magazine, Vogue magazine, in 1894. So it says in this unit, you will be reading The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. This image is the image above is the cover of the story. Image below is her. In the section of this lesson, you will learn about the role of women in the 19th century. It's important that you understand the role of women in the 19th century because that's what her story is about. Okay, so watch this video. Go ahead and pause my video and click on this blue link and then come down here and answer this question. So the video is kind of about her life, but it explains whether or not she considers herself a feminist, a person who believes in extreme women's rights. Okay, so come down here when you're done watching the video, and you're gonna say delete one of these. Right? Chopin did or did not consider herself a feminist because. I want you to give me an answer there. Okay. Background information: women living in the United States in the 19th century or the 1800s had few rights. Women were not allowed to vote. Very few women went to college. Education was considered only important for men. Women were expected to marry a man and bear a child. If women worked, they had to give their wages to a man. Women could not get divorced, even if their husbands abused them. However, many women worked very hard to gain equal rights. By the late 1800s, women had formed a movement to gain the right to vote. In 1920, women in the United States were allowed to vote for the first time. Okay, so this was all going on around the time that she was writing the story. Okay, so think about the title, The Story of an Hour. Think about the main words in the title and what you know about them. What is a story? What is an hour? And then make a prediction down here based on what you know about what is a story. So, in other words, when I tell you a story, what is that, right? And hour, that's a major word, right? So, the story, excuse me, of an hour. Make a prediction of using that title for me there. Okay, so you should have something about maybe I predict that the story is going to take place within an hour, something similar to that. Okay. Step 4, we will read the first 2 paragraphs together. If you are absent from the Zoom call, make sure you watch this video, which you should be doing, and so you can hear them read. So I want you guys to just pay close attention while I read the first 2 paragraphs and the introduction as well to you. Okay, I'm reading the darkened text first. Kate Chopin, 1850 to 1904, was a renowned feminist author of the late 19th century. Some would disagree with that statement, okay, just so you know that. During this period, which was also known as the Victorian era, 1837 to 1901, women had very little control over their own lives, and many female thinkers, like Chopin, fought hard for social change. As you read, take notes on how different characters react to the tragic news. Okay, so there's just a picture. Make sure you go preview your vocabulary always, right? Hasten means to hurry. Number 2 footnote would be the word, let me find it, forestall, to act in advance of someone to prevent them from doing something. Footnote 3, repression. Or to repress is to restrain or subdue someone or something. Elusive means difficult to find or catch or achieve. Tumultuous means excited, confused, or disorderly. Footnote 6, exalted means an old-fashioned usage of this word means an a state of extreme happiness. And then save is footnote 7. It means like but or except. One more down here, footnote 8, importunities means begging or please. Okay. So back up to the first two paragraphs. Just listen as I read. Knowing that Mrs. Mallard was afflicted with a heart trouble, great care was taken to break her to let me start over, sorry. Knowing that Mrs. Mallard was afflicted with a heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. It was her sister, Josephine, who told her, in broken sentences, veiled hints that revealed and half concealing. Her husband's friend Richards was there too, near her. It was he who had been in the newspaper office when intelligence of the railroad disaster was received, with Brentley Mallard's name leading the list of killed. He had only taken the time to assure himself of its truth by a second telegram and had hastened to forestall any less careful, less tender friend in bearing the sad news, sad message. Okay, so come back to your document. And so in paragraph 1, we learned some news about Mrs. Mallard, our main character. Think about what can happen when you break bad news to a person with her condition. So she has a heart condition, right? So something that may happen to a person in Mrs. Mallard's condition is if they hear some bad news, I just want you to tell me what is something possibly that could happen to her or a person like that. Okay. This one, after reading paragraph 2, I noticed Chopin used the words veiled, hints that revealed, and half concealing. So there's some personification there. What do you think she meant by that? So I feel that Chopin is telling the reader, you should say something here about how break the news needed to be broken to her very slowly. Okay, so you can even type that with me. I feel that Chopin is telling the reader that news of her husband's death needed to be revealed carefully, very slowly, right? They couldn't just come out and tell her because they would be possibly hurt her, right? So that's what you should be getting from this. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do in paragraph 2, we also learn of the other characters in the story. You need to know this. So Josephine is Mrs. Mallard's sister. You can go ahead and type this with me. Richards is Mr. Mallard's friend. He's the one that breaks the news, right? He gets the news the from the telegram from the railroad. Well, he tells Josephine, and Josephine tells Mrs. Mallard, right? That's her sister. He's the one who hears the news and comes and tells Josephine, who tells Mrs. Mallard. Brentley Mallard is Mrs. Mallard's husband. Okay, so these are the things you really need to know before you start reading, okay? All right, so now you're going to read the rest of the text on your own. Again, you have some choices. You can read the text alone or read it with the audio or listen to the audio alone, okay, for you auditory learners. You will have a short quiz, so pay attention to the details and do your best. The audio is only 6 minutes, okay? Remember, preview your text if you did not do so already with me. And then optional, if you want to watch this 6-minute movie for you visual learners to just kind of reiterate what's going to happen in the story, okay? Do not do number 6 yet until we have a class discussion on Monday. I want you to hold off on that part, okay? So I want to talk to you, make sure you understand the story itself. But this part that we just did, you should definitely be able to get done today along with the reading,